Welcome back to the Dumb Kids Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Luke.
I am Jack.
I'm Elijah.
And who is this lovely fellow beneath me, hopefully?
He is not beneath you again.
Who is the lovely fellow right over here?
It is Grant LeRoy.
Yeah.
He's back.
Wait, is he actually right here?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wait,
I'm going to crawl out of the screen and touch you.
Hey.
Okay,
So we brought Grant back to continue his talks about his subreddit, OKBR. We had a really good time with him last time. It was a very lovely time. It was a very funny time.
Even.
Very enlightening time as well. He gave us a lot of
romantic time.
Pretty romantic.
That's pretty awesome.
So where were we, Elijah? Where were we when we last left off on the...
I wanted to finally get into the drama bit of it. Okay, so we're sitting at lunch, eating our food, me, Grant, and Luke, and Brandon. And Jack wasn't there. He wasn't at our lunch. He wasn't cool enough.
game.
Anyway, so it was the day after that PewDiePie released his subreddit review on OKBR. And we knew that Grant ran it, so we were like, oh, that's so cool, man. Like, you got PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber in the world, to look at your subreddit. Like, can you tell us the story of how it all happened? And he told us this whimsical tale of friendship and betrayal and trans people. And it was incredible, and it should be a novel one day.
And being featured on PewDiePie's Reddit review is actually not seen as a good thing from the subreddit moderators. And I guess we'll just let Grant explain, since he is the one.
It could almost be seen as a bad thing.
It could.
Mm-hmm. Almost. So PewDiePie. So he has been reviewing subreddits for like a couple years now at least. It's kind of a thing of his. He has reviewed a lot of subreddits, and it is almost always regarded as a bad thing. Now that might seem kind of weird, because PewDiePie is probably he is the biggest YouTuber in the world, and he has an enormous fan base. But the thing is, 100 million. Yes, 100 million.
A lot of people.
That is a lot of people. I remember when it was much smaller. But PewDiePie, his massive fan base, when he exposes a subreddit to them, they will usually go into the subreddit, all of them at once usually, or all of them in a very short amount of time. So the subreddit will usually get flooded by an influx of people who probably, one, don't fully understand what the subreddit's about, or even understand it at all, because they might not have watched the video, or even if they did, PewDiePie might not have given a good enough explanation as to what the subreddit is. So there's a lot of new users coming in that have a poor idea of like what's going on. It's just annoying, because like nobody's, they're all. It's easier to bring in a group of new people if it's like slower.
It's like if you tell people to go to a restaurant because they serve really good food, but these people come and they keep ordering things that aren't on the menu, so the restaurant like starts putting these crappy items on the menu and getting rid of the good items.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. So PewDiePie's goons came into the subreddit.
Goons.
Goons, his little goonies. No, I don't have any resentment towards them. I know most of them are young, but that's the point I wanted to get to. Most of them are very young. Most of them are like probably under the age of like 12, or maybe 13. Very young teens. So that also doesn't help, because a lot of these people, they're not very like worldly. They don't not have the best situational awareness. They can't might not be able to like see a meme and then infer what a subreddit is about. So it's a bad thing generally to get exposed like this in such a huge way. You don't want it, as strange as that may sound. So in the past, when PewDiePie has done things on that to other similar subreddits like r/gamers rise up, it was like catastrophic. Actually, it was horrible, because that subreddit was about like Joker memes, like memes featuring like the Joker, and it was about like ironically saying things like gamers are like oppressed in society and stuff like that, and using like the Joker as a mouthpiece for that. So it was supposed to be like a joke subreddit. But when PewDiePie's fans came into it, so they started posting things that didn't fit the subreddit, first of all. But they also didn't understand that it was supposed to be ironic, at least from what I understand. I'm not like an expert historian on that, but from what I remember when it happened, and I remember hearing about it. So, like, they didn't understand that it was ironic. And so I think gradually over time, after the subreddit, after the PewDiePie fans came in, it grew exponentially. But there were a lot, like, the subreddit changed direction because of all these new people. It was no longer about, like, you know, just like funny, ironic gaming jokes. It was still about that, but like it became less and less ironic over time because more new people came in that didn't understand the irony. And eventually, what ended up happening to the subreddit was it got banned. Like the subreddit was just wiped. Like it doesn't exist anymore. You can't find it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore because it was banned by the Reddit admins because there are too many racist memes being posted there. Yeah, like, because like it was like it started out like innocent, like, you know, gamers are oppressed, but then it like morphed into, with all the people who didn't understand the irony, it morphed into stuff like
white supremacy.
Yeah, almost, yeah, sort of like that. And so it's like, even if PewDiePie, like, I know PewDiePie probably didn't intend for that to happen, but like, not only can it just lead to a downgrade in quality of memes, it can be very seriously harmful to your subreddit, even resulting in its like gradual death.
No, PewDiePie, when he made the video, he was like,
yeah, he was very nefarious.
So after this happened to your subreddit, you released a long statement to
I did.
subreddit directly,
because
basically explaining what you just did, and you also said that you were preparing for this.
Yeah. So there was actually a history of the PewDiePie video before that, because PewDiePie waited a while to do it because the subreddit was made in 2017, but he waited until 2020 to make the video. So that's quite a long time. That's like, was like 2.5 years basically. And that's unusual, because usually when he does it, he usually does it within like a year of the subreddit being created, or very shortly after. Like, he usually doesn't wait very long. He usually hops on like new and up and coming subreddits. Like Gamers Rise Up was fairly new when he covered it. Might not have even been 6 months old when he did it. So he does stuff like that. And we eventually thought, like, after that period had passed, because in the beginning we were like real scrappy, and like you know, we were just beginning. We were thinking that was going to happen. We were like on guard. We even made a couple backup subreddits just in case, but it never happened for that like first 2 years. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, well, he hasn't made a video about us yet, so he's probably never going to make one, because you know, it's like it doesn't fit the pattern. And we also thought, or at least I personally thought, the reason he didn't do it was because of our name, the name of the subreddit. Like, I thought because the name, like, if he attempted to put that name into a YouTube video title, his video would get demonetized, because you know, obviously, like, advertisers don't want to put ads on something that says, you know, anything, like any word that can be considered racy. So
shameful.
Like,
and along with that, the media tends to over dramatize everything PewDiePie.
PewDiePie is kind of he's a controversial figure in his own right. So you know, I eventually got to the point where I just assumed, like, he's not going to do it. Like, there's no way this is going to happen. And I even told people, like, people would come to me sometimes and be like, you know, like, should we prepare for this? Like, is this going to be a problem? And I would tell them, because I was very confident it would never happen. Now, when it did happen, I was kind of surprised, but I did turn out to be half right, because he didn't put the subreddit title in the video. And
yeah, he never said it, but he did show it.
He never said it. He didn't put it in the title of the video.
Mm-hmm.
It was never, he never said it out loud. And that's unusual, because most of the other subreddits, you see the title very clearly in the title of the video. So I was half right. But when he made the video, I watched it, and it was just like, I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible, to be honest.
yeah.
Like
Whoa!
it was.
Oh my!
I don't like his videos that much either. I think
Oh my gosh!
There's so much shade being thrown.
I mean, I'm just
insane.
Guys, we're gonna make PewDiePie cry. Can we stop now?
Yeah. So basically, when he did it, it was bad. I didn't like it. But the reasons why I specifically found it bad, like if you look in the opening, like 60 seconds of it, well, he calls it in the video title. He calls it the most offensive subreddit, and that that is like the most like character assassination title you could give a video. Like, I would honestly have preferred he just use our name in the title, because even though that probably would have attracted more people in the long run, like, I don't know, at least it wouldn't have put anyone on our trail, really. Like, it wouldn't have made anyone dislike us. And ultimately, we didn't get a whole lot of flack for that, I don't think, which was lucky. But still, I don't like it. I don't like that being on, like, the record that like such a high profile thing calling us offensive was out there, because we're not offensive, really. I don't think of us as offensive. I don't want us to be offensive.
In the post, I think you said the main reason for that was because I guess a lot of subreddits get removed for if they're labeled as offensive.
They do what they do, or they get like quarantined or stuff like that.
well, just like us, we're offensive right now.
Oh, I don't know. Are we? But
actually, we're kind of on the defense.
Yeah, we're defensive. Actually, we are. We're good. We're agents of good. But basically, I don't like us getting labeled as that. I don't think we are offensive. And like in the first like 60 seconds of the video, PewDiePie starts talking like he's explaining it in like the most disjointed, robotic way possible. He's like, so basically, this. Oh God, what's a Swedish accent? God, I can't do that accent.
No, go ahead, keep going.
He's like talking. He's like, this subreddit is bombarded with ironic memes, and that is such an odd way to phrase it, because it's like, it's like going into McDonald's. It's like, this place is bombarded with hamburgers. It's like, what do you mean? Like, they serve hamburgers here. This place is about hamburgers. People don't force hamburgers on it. It's like saying it's bombarded with ironic memes. Makes it sound like it's
you don't want
hurting
this.
us.
Like,
we
you
don't
want it.
we don't want this. We're under attack by ironic memes.
It's like the gamers have risen up.
The
gamers rose.
I don't know why he decided to phrase it like that, but it did not help anyone understand what it's about. And so after he gives this like weird explanation of what it is, he proceeds to just spend the rest of the video showing a meme and then like mundanely reacting to it. He's like, he looks at a meme of Peter Griffin dancing. He's like,
yeah, it's like a reaction video.
It's like a reaction, but it's not even like a good reaction.
Yeah.
It's not even like a review.
Just show me the memes. Yeah, it's just like he's just like, yeah, it's really not a review, because he's not.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything about it. He's only looking at memes that he thinks are funny, and he's not even really laughing or saying anything like why it's good. He's just like, oh, that's funny.
He basically is like Jinx, like Reloaded or whatever that reaction channel's name was.
Yeah, Jinx. Yeah.
He's just showing you the video and not doing anything.
Anything.
You're just watching the video that he's watching. Like, that's what he was basically doing. He was just showing you memes for you to look at the memes and laugh at them. He was kind of exploiting your subreddit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and it's just like, well, I hate that, because that's a much wider spread practice than PewDiePie. Lots of people do that. Your entire YouTube channel's literally just dedicated to doing that, and some of them have even less effort. Some of them, it's literally just like r/dank memes, top post of all time, and it's just a picture of the meme with like a text-to-speech voice narrating it. I could make that in Windows Movie Maker in 10 minutes, and you could upload it to YouTube. You could upload it to YouTube and put ads on it, because none of the stuff in there is copyrighted. You could put ads on it and make hundreds of dollars just doing that.
My absolute favorite ones are like the top 5 r/no sleep stories. And then it's just like it's got like some eerie music, and wait, you got your guy, and he's like,
Number 5. I woke up.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's just talking with some eerie music in the background while throwing up like minorly uncomfortable photos the whole time.
Yeah, it's like a picture of a skull or something.
It's like whoa. Heebie-jeebies.
So,
Oh god, it's basically stealing. It is basically stealing. But
PewDiePie stole your
PewDiePie stole.
viewers.
He did exactly. But basically, so PewDiePie made this video,
Stole your heart.
and this video was not very good, and it brought people into the subreddit. So what I did was I made that announcement immediately. I remember when it happened because I was in class when it happened, and I needed to pull out my phone because there was no waiting on this.
Yeah.
There was no waiting. I had to do this now, and I remember typing it on my phone. It was typing on your phone is not fun. I don't like doing it. But I had to do it, and I posted it. I made it pretty succinct. I just made everything I need to say. I said the thing about the subreddit is not offensive. I said how I don't, how we didn't want PewDiePie to do it. It was pretty short.
we'll post a link to the video and the post in the description of this.
But basically, I did that, and at that point, we locked the subreddit for a week, or maybe slightly longer. I can't remember, but it was about a week, and that was kind of unprecedented from what I understand, because I don't think there's ever been a subreddit to do that before when they get a PewDiePie video made about them, or at least none that I know of. And a lot of people voiced their support about that when we did it, because a lot of people. They understood why it had to happen, which I appreciated. I'm very glad we didn't have to go through a big PR nightmare. But we kept it on lockdown for a week, and when we took it back up, everything was pretty much fine. At least it seemed to be. We weren't getting horrible memes or anything. Our numbers had definitely grown. Faster, but everything seemed to be pretty much fine. And I guess we found out the secret. I guess it's not really a secret because it's not really very complicated or hard. But it's just you have to take action. You have to fight that when it happens. And I don't resent PewDiePie for doing what he did.
Do you think he realizes the effect that?
No. He did. He does actually. He does because he said it in the video.
Oh,
He
really?
said it. He said it in the video actually in the beginning. He said he'd actually.
Yeah, he did.
He did. He said he was he said something about he had been holding off doing video on the subreddit for a couple months, and he was because people will say I ruined this, but I don't care. That actually did seem malicious.
Wow.
To me. Yeah, that actually did seem malicious. I didn't like that.
Actually, yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
I forgot about that too. Actually, maybe he was kind of malicious in doing that.
Dude, we on that.
I was kind of ready. I was ready to forgive him, but
You need to challenge him to a rap battle.
Dude, screw
Sounds like a
PewDiePie. All my homies hate PewDiePie.
Everyone subscribe to PC.
epic rap battles of history. Grant versus PewDiePie. That would be so awesome.
Say that
If you didn't make a video.
you should handle
Yeah, not
that
just
power.
not make a video. He could have not made a video.
I understand not making a video, but at the same time, there's a good way for your subreddit to get
Yeah.
exposure.
There is.
It's a good traction.
He could
But
have.
Is there just no way his fan base?
I think I feel like there's
I
almost
would've
no
preferred
way.
it. I would've preferred if somebody
with a more
else did
mature
it.
fan base.
Yeah, I would have preferred if somebody else did it. I mean, truth be told, I don't really know who I would prefer.
Jacksepticeye.
Yeah, yes,
The
Markiplier.
Game Grumps.
Game Grumps. Oh, God. I would have liked Game Grumps less. I would like Game Grumps less. Okay, I would have. I might have shut down the subreddit if the Game Grumps did it.
John Trump.
Whoa.
John Tron, maybe. But I don't know who I would have preferred. But there's definitely someone I would have taken over PewDiePie.
I agree that wasn't very.
Yeah, it wasn't very good of him.
Ryan toy reviews.
Actually, yes, because at least those kids wouldn't even understand what's happening. They wouldn't even go to Reddit.
They would think that they would think all the memes were funny, like
unironically. Yeah, they would.
They would actually like relate to them.
Yeah, they would relate to them. They would love them.
Fortnite.
It's Fortnite.
They'd be like, dude, Jonesy.
It's the annoying orange.
So, okay, we're past the PewDiePie thing. I think that about wraps it up for that.
More or less.
So now let's move on to, we already covered the creation of the subreddit for the most part, but there is a deep story that most people know about because your partner who created this with you, Kirbizia, I think that's how it's pronounced, made a video pretty much about this. And you were kind of telling us a lunch about it, but yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, to fully encapsulate the troubles we had, it goes back before that history thing. So basically, Kirbizia and I were partners for a while after we met on Bone Hurting Juice, and we made the subreddit and stuff. And everything for that first year, we worked together for that first year, like end of 2017 to like end of 2018 or maybe beginning of 2019. And Kirbizia just kind of like, over that time, we did do a lot of good things. We did, one of the things we did in that time was we co-founded another subreddit, which was r/DogeLore. That was
Care to elaborate?
Oh yeah, that's a subreddit about, it's like about Doge memes or like ironic Doge memes. Usually ones that focus on telling some kind of story or putting Doge in like some kind of
Is Okay Buddy the only subreddit you moderate right now?
No, I moderate other ones, but it's the one I most. It's the one I most. Yeah, it's the biggest and the one I most actively moderate.
Okay.
So we co-founded DogeLore about maybe like halfway through that first year. I'm no longer affiliated with DogeLore. I left.
You left DogeLore? That's
I did leave DogeLore. But so we made that subreddit, and for the first year we worked reasonably well together. We had some differences, you know, there was some arguments, but for the first year or so everything went fairly smoothly, I think. But towards the end of that first year is when things kind of started to get a little wacky. So basically what started happening was Kirbizia started to behave a little erratically at the end. So some of the more notable events, because at the end of the first year, we had a pretty full team. We had ourselves and we had the people we had recruited to, you know, be moderators with us, the people who, you know, help us do our job, the mod team. And we had been working together fairly well, but there were quarrels between me and Kirbizia, and with these, anytime we had a fight, it was usually not like very severe. Like I would like it would usually get like diffused fairly fast because I mean, I don't mean to like toot my own horn here, but you know, I try to defuse it most of the time whenever something happens. So
way to toot your own horn there.
Yeah, way to toot my own horn. But when these conflicts started spilling over into the entire mod team, things started to get a little bit more messy. So there were specifically, I remember Kirbizia coming into conflict with one of the moderators we had. Well, I probably shouldn't give any info on who he is, but into one specific moderator, and these conflicts would often not get resolved because Kirbizia would often, you know, before I say anything else, I would like to make it clear that Kirbizia does appear to have some mental issues. Not to like disparage her or anything. Obviously, she can't help any of that. She was not in an excellent state of mind to be doing that at the time, and these, you know, occasionally led to like, you know, hyper aggressive behavior, and Kirbizia would like, she would talk about how she was like stressed because of the duties of helping to run the subreddit, or like how the other people weren't helping, or they were had like bad attitudes or stuff like that. And you know, sometimes she'd accuse me of this, sometimes she'd accuse other people of this, and you know, I tried to treat this as reasonably as I could. I tried to you know, not antagonize her, but some of the other moderators, I mean, to their credit, getting attacked is obviously like not good. It's understandable if, you know, you would try to defend yourself. I don't think any of them are bad for getting angry in response, but they did, a couple of specific ones, and it led to some pretty nasty arguments between them. And I remember quite distinctly, one of the things Kirbizia did, she sent me images of her cutting herself and saying that I was the one causing her to do that. And she also, you know, I mean, she did that to me like a couple times when we would get into an argument. And she also did it like, well, there was one other person she did it to specifically, the same person she got into like really heated arguments with. Again, I won't disclose the identity of, but you know, I obviously didn't like getting pictures like that. I didn't like you know, I didn't like somebody doing that. It was it was more than a little uncomfortable. Again,
yeah, like there's no blame on you for reacting in any way other than uncomfort.
Yeah, I you know, I tried to handle it like as calmly as I could. I never, as far as I can remember, I never like said anything like nasty to her, although she same thing can't be said for her, but again, she has some things to work through. And you know, eventually, because the working conditions we were in to that point were, it was like 50-50 with me and her ownership, like and because of that, she was obviously unfit to continue doing this. It wasn't good for her, it wasn't good for anybody else.
It was just unhealthy.
It was just unhealthy. It was unhealthy. It was not a good situation for anyone. But because of the 50-50 ownership, we couldn't really force her out of it. Like nobody could fire her. So for a couple months there, we just had to endure this. We just had to go through like the erratic behavior and the, you know, we never knew what we were going to get. Like, seems like it was very frequent mood swings. It was just, something was always going on. Something was always happening. And it was, you know, we couldn't run it like that. It's impossible to...
How serious do you think this, sorry for interrupting, but I was going to say, how serious do you think that this little span of time was to just a regular on the subreddit? Like, do you think they would have noticed if something was going on through like the quality of posts or just anything? Because it seems kind of like more of like a, you wouldn't know unless you were told.
Yeah, probably not. Maybe like a couple like weird memes that Kirbizia might have approved personally. But beyond that, probably not.
It would make sense for someone that knows about it.
Yeah, like if you're just a casual, if like a bystander, you would not really understand. There are ways, like anyone who wants to get involved with the community can. You know, we have like a big public Discord server, and And, you know, if you get in there, you become more in tune with the goings-on of things. Like you see what what people are doing. It's hard to gauge what individual people are doing from the subreddit most of the time. But so that like 1 or 2 or 3 maybe, well, let's say 3 months span of time was when Kirbizia was really acting erratically, and things were kind of rickety in terms of stability. Now, at the very beginning of 2019, in fact, I actually remember the day. It was the 4th of January. Kirbizia decided that she wanted to leave. She decided that she was stepping down herself. It was not as simple as that, though. She started talking about like how she was going to leave and how like she didn't enjoy the community anymore. It's like she made a post, like, and the post said, or she made, this is like a personal post to her own profile. She posted to her own profile, and she said, anyone who comments on this post with an explanation of what OKBuddy is that I like, I will pass my ownership to. Like, I will pass my share, like my 50% share of the ownership to. And
Wow.
yeah, like that is like that is nightmare scenario. Now, luckily, I don't really think she had a full understanding of how it works, because she couldn't actually do that.
Yeah.
Like
no
the way Reddit works, like the moderator power structure system works, you can't actually do that. You would not be able to do that unless you completely removed like every other moderator and then passed the ownership to the person you wanted to give it to.
So there are kind of like general rules for this.
Yeah, there are rules. Yeah.
Okay.
So Kirbizia, I don't think she realized she couldn't do that, but when she found out that she couldn't, she gave up on the idea. And thank God that happened.
Dude, you should have messaged me. I would have come in clutch. Like,
yeah, thank God, because if we had gotten some rando becoming the new co-owner and I had to work with them, it would have been awful. It would have been god awful.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't happen. So when she figured out that she couldn't do that, she just left. She just made a post to her profile about how she was leaving, and I inherited her share of the ownership, and I became the full 100% owner of the subreddit. So for a while there, you know, we were very relieved. Like, I don't mean to be mean, but like when it happened, oh my God, it was like a hallelujah moment, because, you know, we finally had like security. We finally had some peace of mind. Like, we were not living each day in fear of like, what's gonna happen? Like, what is she gonna do? Like, is she gonna post a picture of like oh God, actually the things she did after she left are kind of more egregious than what she did before. But as to what was happening at that time specifically, we were very relieved. Now I finally had full ownership. I had full control over everything that was happening.
You still are the full owner, right?
I still am the full owner.
Yeah.
I have been ever since.
Got it.
For the first couple months there, it was kind of a weird, precarious situation, because Kirbizia left. Okay, Kirbizia left. And I was still, at the time, a moderator of Bone Herding Jews. We were both still moderators of Bone Herding Jews. So this was kind of an odd thing, like,
yeah, kind of awkward.
It's kind of an awkward position. It's just like, you know, nobody's like what, kind of like what's going on. So for this first couple of months, like, you know, it was just kind of weird. It's like we're sitting in this weird limbo where Kirbizia has nothing to do with OKBuddy, but I'm still kind of involved with this sub that she's involved with. So we still kind of work together, but not really. And by that point, like, by the time OKBuddy had really started to take off, I kind of stopped. Like, Bone Herding was not really a priority for me at all. Like, OKBuddy, as soon as it became clear that it was becoming something, it became like my full priorities. But then at the end of February, again, only like not even 2 months later, Kirbizia asked to come back. Kirbizia asked me if she could return to the subreddit. And even if Kirbizia was not a problem child and did not, you know, cause us issues, I would still not be inclined to accept that because you can't just leave. Like, you can't. I mean, okay, I know Reddit is obviously not as serious as a job, but like, you can't just quit your job and then come back like a month later and be like, "Yo,
Yeah, it's kind of
that position's
hypocritical.
still open. Can I come? Can I just start working here again?" Like, no, like it. You can't do that. But obviously, even besides that, like Kirbizia, like even if we just let her back on as like a moderator and didn't give her like any percentage of owner back, which is what I would have done had I done anything, but I wouldn't have done anything. Like even if she did that, we still don't know what's going to happen. She could still cause problems in all sorts of ways. So I had to creatively tell her no. I had to say, the wording I used exactly was, we don't think now is a good time for you to come back. While we think that at some point in the future it may be a good time, now is not that time, because the community is in somewhat of a volatile state. Because remember, after she left, people made all these like posts. Like for the couple days, the subreddit was filled with all these like fawning mourning posts of Kirbizia. It's like R.I.P. Kirbizia, like upvote if you miss her or something like that. These horrible, sappy posts, and you could tell most of these people didn't know anything. Like most of these people did not know anything about Kirbizia. They were just like, hopping on the gravy train of she left, sad.
So did her fans kind of attack you guys for your decision?
She actually did. I'll get to that here in a second. Kirbizia actually did somewhat attract a fan base, I guess you could say. I don't really want to phrase it like that. It was more like a crowd of like maybe 100. A following. Like 100 to 200 like orbiters, I'd say. All these posts were made, and we had to stop this. Like we had to stop. We could not let Kirbizia become like a hero. A hero. We couldn't let Kirbizia become like a martyr. Yeah, exactly. That's the word I was. That's what I was gonna say. We could not let that happen, because if Kirbizia became a memory people frequently invoked, it would only cause more problems for us.
Yeah. You're gonna have the crowd that's like, okay, buddy, Kirbizia.
Yeah, buddy, Kirbizia. We need her back. Like it was so much better when she was here.
When Kirbizia left, did someone from OK Buddy release a statement?
I did release a statement actually. I told them how I was now the full owner and stuff like that.
Got it.
We instituted the system. We put in so auto moderator is like a moderation bot you can put in your subreddit, and you can fiddle with the code to make it do certain things. So I added a clause to auto moderator. It would automatically remove anything that mentioned Kirbizia. Like anything that mentioned Kirbizia, whether it was a post title, a comment, it removed her name. And like that might seem a little extreme, but we had to do it because we could not let this like fester and become a thing that was like became like a hallmark, like Kirbizia, like who here remembers Kirbizia or something like that. Like we could not.
Average Farms remembers.
Average Farms remembers. Peter Griffin remembers.
Only 90s kids.
Yeah, only 90s kids. We just couldn't let it happen because it could not have done any good. It would only have been bad for meme quality and just for like overall tolerableness of the subreddit. It would have been bad. So we implemented this system. But
did Kirbizia ever catch? I think you're getting to this. I assume that Kirbizia caught on.
Kirbizia caught on to what was happening. She saw the posts were getting automatically removed, and she didn't take it very well. And so basically what happened was I was forced out of bone hurting juice. Obviously, like she didn't want me to continue being on that team. I hadn't been active on there in a long time anyway, so it wasn't like a huge blow to me or anything. So bone hurting juice became like a no-go. And she also started like, her following, they turned against us. They were like, okay, buddy, they wouldn't let Kirbizia come back. Like they made her leave, like they forced her out or something. And obviously like none of these people understood the context of this. No one had any idea what was happening. The real context was Kirbizia was unfortunately someone who was very difficult to work with, and for her own good she could not be a moderator there anymore.
It was a health concern.
It was a health concern for everyone involved. But all these people saw it, and they were like, because Kirbizia obviously, like, again, not to her discredit, she obviously does have some issues, but like she, posted about it and she was mad. And she did not present everything in a very clear or calm manner, and it kind of, vilified us a little bit. And
I mean, that's usually the case with internet drama. There's always two sides, and then everyone siding with one person doesn't know.
That's just all drama.
But so these people started like vilifying us, and we had to deal with this PR issue. And this guy who was like, because after Kirbizia left, it was no longer like a 50-50 partnership between me and somebody else. Now I was the full owner. So I kind of set out to find CEO. But I had this other guy who kind of became in the time since I've become the full owner, there's never been really any other like co-owners. I wanted to find someone who was like sort of like a protege, I guess.
Like the Karate Kid to your Master Miyagi.
Yeah, the Karate Kid to my Master. The Grimace to my Ronald McDonald. But basically, so I had this guy, and this guy was he had some issues himself. In response to the Kirbizia's going after us, he lashed out back at them in some very poor ways. Like he went onto Kirbizia's profile and started like commenting about how she was like whiny or stuff like that, or started calling her like a loser and stuff like that.
Dang.
That probably doesn't help.
That's unkind.
It is unkind. It's mean even, possibly. And
it's almost hurtful.
It's almost hurtful. It's almost tear-inducing. And I never authorized him to do any of this. In fact, I told him to stop multiple times. But he kept doing it, and that just stoked the flames for this conflict that would go for like maybe 6 months-ish. Eventually it petered out. Like eventually people just stopped, people stopped caring. And we just we didn't have any contact with Kirbizia for a while there. At the very peak of the drama, we entered like a bargaining room with Kirbizia because obviously like we wanted to find a way to like defuse the situation. And so we started talking to her. This was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks after she found out about the thing and the hostilities started. I tried talking to her, and we tried like maybe working out like a peace deal. I can't really remember if we even settled on anything, because I remember like she made some kind of unreasonable demands, and we said no. And then I think she just said like, well then I'll just keep like lambasting you guys, and we were just like, okay. And then that was just kind of the end.
Okay, buddy.
Deep stuff.
That didn't lead to anything. And so eventually the conflict kind of petered out. That guy who was my right-hand man who was like stoking the flames, he eventually also left on his own, and when he also asked to come back, and I again said no. That is a trend. That is a trend. Okay, just don't leave and ask to come back. This conflict like petered out. We stopped paying attention, and eventually like the zealots of Kirbizia stopped attacking, because I have no idea. I don't know what they intended to accomplish. Like I feel like none of them understood really what was happening. I feel like maybe they thought there was some way like they could get Kirbizia back on the team or something. Or like, no, I remember someone said like, we need to report this to the Reddit administrators. Like they will give the subreddit back to Kirbizia, and it's like there is no way. If you read the rules, even if you give the rules like a cursory glance, you'll understand that that is not how it works at all. Like
if you give him a gander.
If you give him a little peek, a little check a peek. But Kirbizia left entirely of her own will. The Reddit admins can only give you a subreddit back if it was literally taken from you without your consent. Like if somebody hacked your account and took it from you or something. Yeah. So Kirbizia doing it, like there was literally proof on her Reddit profile that she did it. She said she was stepping down. So there was no argument to be made that she had some kind of like entitlement to be given it back. And the Reddit admins obviously never intervened. I don't think they even looked at the case or any of the reports or anything. But these people, they just wasted their time. They wasted our time. And, that happened.
The end.
Wow, that's crazy. Are you still in contact with her at all?
It does have some kind of a happy ending, I guess. So eventually, after all that happened, the funny thing happened. I did not have any contact with Kirbizia for a very long time, and Kirbizia did some very questionable things. She tried to start some she started a Twitch channel actually, and started. I think she streams video games or something now.
That is the new thing in quarantine.
She tried to leverage her following into E's fame, but it wasn't large enough.
Dude, she tried. She was playing 4D laser ket with this.
Yeah. I mean, look, again, I don't want to I have no hard feelings towards her, honestly. I think she did some things I would have rather she didn't done, obviously. I would rather not I would rather many of these things had not happened. But I understand she is legitimately she had some issues. I think she does, when I first met her and we made the subreddit, she was funny. We had a good, we were friends. And
buddy old time.
Yeah, it was a buddy old time. And I think that sense of humor is probably somewhere still in there. I haven't really, most of the thing, towards the end, she was being a little bit less funny, but, I mean, look, I'm sorry. It's just that doesn't come as a surprise, does it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't expect her to be doing all these things and then be like, dude, meme, and then it's just everybody's laughing.
Everybody's laughing. Everyone's having a great time. But she is still. I left Doge Lore. I didn't like I left Doge Lore a bit before she left. Okay, Buddy, I think actually, because I just didn't like the direction it was going. She is still the owner of Doge Lore, to my knowledge, but I've heard there have been drama there, so maybe that's not the case. I have no idea what's happening with Bone Hurting Juice. I have not checked in on that place in maybe a year or more. It's not really relevant anymore either. You don't really see
relevant.
Yeah, those memes aren't really my cup of tea.
It's just the problem with Bone Hurting Juice is it's so obtuse. A lot of people seem to struggle understanding how to correctly make a Bone Hurting Juice meme. I remember when I was very active in it, our number one struggle was just getting people to understand what a Bone Hurting Juice meme is, and it was just so tiring. Trying to okay, buddy. Again,
okay, buddy's so broad that
it's so broad. You can do anything. It's pretty intuitive. You see a couple okay, buddy memes, you can start to get it, and it's a bit it's a bit confusing for a newcomer, but generally not a big learning curve. It's fairly accessible. Bone Hurting Juice is just I get. Well, I mean, it's not complicated to me, obviously, or not to say I'm smarter than anybody else or anything, but Bone Hurting Juice is just it's not as because again, okay, buddy relies on anything. Okay, buddy can take anything and turn anything into anything else. Bone Hurting Juice, you have to take a meme template and turn it into something else that makes sense.
Yeah. And both of those subreddits tread a very okay, buddy and Bone Hurting Juice both tread a super fine line between random equals funny and actual meme that has a lot of okay, buddy is reference driven, and things that you haven't thought about in a while get pushed to the forefront of your mind. That's something I've noticed a lot. I'm surprised I haven't seen a Bakugan meme on there yet, but
I think I've seen one.
Really? I mean, you are also the owner.
Yeah.
But a lot of Bone Hurting Juice, I see a lot of just random equals funny type memes.
Yeah.
Or
maybe they might have just given up on moderating it. Honestly, it was a pain.
The meme genre I hate the most are surreal memes.
I hate surreal memes.
I'm pretty sure you and I have actually talked about this.
We have talked about this.
They're not funny.
They aren't.
I don't see why people they're the people that find surreal memes funny are the same people with I'm quirky.
Yeah.
A good impression.
What do you qualify as a surreal meme?
Not a meme, not just any meme that's literally surreal. Surreal memes is a specific format that involves using the titular, not the titular, but the the main character of it is that 3D, the head of that bald guy who has his face mushed in. Yeah, those memes. It's those very specific kind of memes. Or it's Mother,
so you better feed the space cat before he eats time.
Yeah, it's Mother, what are we having for dinner tonight? We are having cubes. and then it's like it's a picture of like space or something. It's stupid. It's not stupid enough to loop around and be funny again. But
like it's to the point where I honestly do not see the appeal in it at all. Like I don't understand how people find that kind of stuff funny.
We should probably get back to the Kirbizia video.
Yes.
So she uploaded a video. I actually don't know when it was uploaded, but it was titled "The History of r/okbr."
Yeah.
She basically explained her claim to fame, like how she got in her position, all of her subreddit moderating past, and and then she touched on the whole controversy with OKBR.
I did watch that video. I've said it before, but it should be said again. I don't hate Kirbizia. I don't have any negative feelings towards her. But that video is not very lucid, really. It's not like it's kind of just like rambling. Like, well, it's obviously not scripted, or at least I don't think it's scripted, or if it is, it's just like bullet points. And
it wasn't like Roblox footage.
It was it was a Hat in Time footage, I think.
It was crazy.
It's like a Leafy video.
Yeah, it is. It's like a Leafy is here video, because also like unscripted, you talking over a gameplay of something.
That's like almost up there with surreal memes for like.
It is, and the levels of like unfunniness. But so like, she uploaded that video, and I watched it when it came out. I didn't watch it again after that. But it was rambling. I don't even think she mentioned me by name.
No, she didn't.
I feel like that was probably at a time where she was still kind of bitter, maybe? I mean, again, I'd have to look at the upload date. So I think that was uploaded like last fall. And it was just rambling, like, it doesn't really explain like much of anything, really, to my recollection. Like, it's not really, it's more of a personal history, really. Like, it's more of like a history of Kirbizia than anything else. Like, in terms of like how this functions as a story, I mean, obviously we're recording it right now, so it has some merit. Obviously, like I think it is interesting, or at least the parts I've touched on are. But like, if you get into the nitty gritty, there's a lot of like smaller, like pettier dramas that I've been there for everything. I've been there since the literal first day, since I created it, and I've seen all of these little dramas. And I would say a lot of them are important, but it's like a lot of them are just.
Would you say that the Kirbizia drama was the most significant?
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. It was definitely the most significant. I mean, it was
top 10.
Top 10. It was top 10. It was if it was in a no sleep countdown, it would at least be number 3. It wasn't really like a fight between me and her, because any hostility that was exchanged was really just her to me. Like, it was just like.
You were just kind of taking it.
I was just kind of taking it. I was just trying to like diffuse it most of the time, and it wasn't really a fight. And if it was a fight, like between the two co-creators, it would certainly have to be argued that it is mostly an indirect fight, like a proxy war. It was the Vietnam War of.
It was the Reddit Vietnam War.
It was the Reddit Vietnam War. Yes, exactly. But I'd say that's probably the most significant. I don't really know what you could even argue is more significant than that.
You really gotta think like what goes on in these big subreddits, like Ask Reddit.
Yeah, Ask Reddit. Well, I could probably answer that, because a lot of the hugest subreddits, like the default ones, a lot of those are controlled by a lot of the same people. Like there's kind of like a group of like the elite Reddit moderators who, like, I don't know if they get, I mean, elite Reddit, but like the Reddit, like the big time Reddit moderators,
the big kahunas.
Is that your goal?
Big kahunas. I'm pretty sure they are endorsed, or at least in touch with, the Reddit administration. I'm pretty sure they have. I don't know if they like. I mean, I assume they have jobs. I assume they do. I know a lot of them, pretty much all of them are like grown men. And I don't know what they do for money, but they certainly spend a lot of time on Reddit. And they moderate a lot of the biggest subreddits. And I think what you might be surprised to happen is, like, in a lot of those big subreddits, like Ask Reddit, like, it's probably kind of sterile, like, in terms of, like, drama. Like, it's probably just, like, most of the moderators, they probably have so many moderators, it's impossible for anyone to know each other.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, even if they didn't, like, nobody would know each other regardless. Like, it's just like, you know, we need new moderators. They bring on some people. It's like, okay, here's what you do. You remove posts that, like, have bad words in them or are, like, not in English or something. And then, like, you just do your job. And then it's like at the end of every month, they'll be like, did you meet your quota? Did you remove, like, 200 posts? And then if not, they axe you. And then if yes, you just keep going. It's like, it's mundane.
Wait, so they have to like meet a quota for posts they remove?
On a lot of those big subreddits, yep, that's what it does. I do not enforce that at all.
That's kind of dumb, because
That's
now it
kind of
makes me
hard
think,
to do.
how many of my good questions have been removed by some, you know, plebeian moderator trying to meet his monthly
Yeah.
Dude, I had some bangers.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend moderating?
Not that much. I mean, like, a lot of the time, like, there's somewhat of a distinction between the senior members of the team and the newer ones. Like, I do check the sub. I do check it, like, pretty frequently. You know, at least once a day, I'll look at the front page. But in terms of how many posts I actually remove, not a lot. I don't remove that many posts. I don't spend a huge amount of time looking at it. I just take a glance to make sure everything's going okay. And so me and the other senior moderators, we mostly decide, like, policy. That's our job. Like, we decide, like, we'll have a meeting every now and then and be like, so this meme has been, like, causing a problem. Like, should we ban it? Or like, maybe we should institute, like, a new policy. Like, we should like push old posts we should, like, pin old posts to the top of the front page so people will see them or something. That's most of what me and the older moderators do. A lot of the newer people we bring on are expected to do the removing work. But again, I don't enforce any kind of, like, quota system or anything. You don't have to. You don't have to remove any set amount of thing. Just remove anything that's bad. How
do you go about choosing new moderators?
We just open, like, moderator applications, like, through Google Forms, and you know, we just ask, like, some things like, you know, where do you live? What, you know, like, what time zone?
What's your social security number?
Yeah, what's your social security
just the
number?
Basics.
Would you be willing to date me? Things like that. And then we just get new mod. Yeah.
May I please be a moderator, buddy?
Of course you can.
New recruit.
New recruit, right here, right in the meeting.
Fresh meat.
Fresh meat. But anyway, in the kirbizia video, just to wrap up there, the kirbizia video is not really a very accurate history. I could, like, a history could be given. I could probably do it. I mean, again, I don't want to, like.
You just did.
I don't. I kind of did, but I don't want to, like, toot my own horn. But I would probably be, like, the most qualified to do it. I think.
Tooting your own horn again. Holy cow.
I'm sorry. I am self-centered. I am, like, I guess you could say I'm Kanye, I think, maybe. I'm
full circle.
Yeah, exactly. Kanye Browse is okay, buddy.
Go eat at McDonald's.
If Kanye asked you to, like, if you could be a moderator, would you actually, like, no joke, would you give him moderator privileges?
Yeah, easily. I would give him, like, instantly.
Wow.
Would you give him
no
ownership?
Hesitation there.
Would you give him 50-50 ownership if he asked for ownership?
I would seriously consider it.
A lot of traffic. If you have Kanye on your subreddit.
Yeah. So to end, that video I would not say is any, like, reliable source. I would say what I have just said is, well, I mean, pretty reliable, I think. You know,
or the direct source.
No, yeah, but that's about as, like, complete as a history is I mean, I could go more in depth.
I have one more question.
That's for part 3.
Yeah.
Last question. Go.
So
Elijah.
if Kirbizia was watching right now, what would you want to say to her?
I would want to say, no hard feelings. I don't resent you for anything you did. I think it's a little bit sad the way things happened. I obviously would not have made them happen that way if I had a choice. But, everything seems to be fine now. And I think the way most of it happened was mostly for the better. So.
You make the right decisions. You're always
good guy, Grant
CEO.
for the good of the subreddit.
What a powerful way to close this episode.
There's actually one last thing. Like I said, the sort of happy ending was after PewDiePie made that video, she actually did message me again after PewDiePie made that video. Actually, I can pull it up on my phone right now.
That'd be a great conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she said, "This is probably weird and all, but I just wanted to let you know I have no idea why I was so hyper-aggressive to you. I honestly hold no beef between you and me over OKBuddy, and I understand where you're coming from. I guess it doesn't mean much now, but whatever." And, I just said thank you. I really appreciate it. And I said, maybe there's probably some things I could have done better as well. I mean, I'm glad that happened. I mean...
Yeah, it's got to make you feel good.
It does. It is kind of a nice feeling. I hope she's doing well. I just hope, because, at least back when we were talking regularly, I could tell she had some problems, and I hope she's doing better, and she continues to work through those. So I guess the story is, mostly concluded for now. Everything seems to be fine. We seem to be in a period of relative peace. The PewDiePie video ultimately didn't really have that bad of an effect. All the drama, at least all the major drama, is pretty much done, and we're just in we're in a nice peaceful period. And
GrantVsZombies Unfiltered.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing talk. Amazing.
We all miss you, as we assume you miss all of us, of course.
I do miss all of you guys. I think about you more than I would like to admit, honestly.
Oh.
Thanks again for joining us. We wish you nothing but the best with your Reddit career and anything. We wish you the best of luck. Can't wait to see you in person again. We're going to definitely have you on again to talk about other stuff besides Reddit and memes, because
magnet fishing
is a very interesting person, and he holds a good conversation, as you just saw. So
thank you.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Grant.
You're welcome,
guys.
I had a lot of fun.
See you later.
All right,
See you next time.
Peace out.